I'm going to use two problems from Chapter 8 to show you how to do the petty cash journal entries and a bank reconciliation. The first one is problem 2, establish and reimburse a petty cash fund. On May 1st, prepared a company check for $300 to establish the petty cash fund. Debit cash for $300. And, debit petty cash. And credit cash. $300. Prepared a company check to replenish the fund for the expenditures made since May 1st. So you have to check all the information given to you. Paid $88 for janitorial expenses, so debit janitorial expenses. B says paid $53.66 for miscellaneous expenses, so debit miscellaneous expenses. C, paid postage expenses of $53.50, debit postage expense. D, paid $47.15 to the County Gazette, the local newspaper, for an advertisement. Debit ad expenses. Then add up your debits. The total is $242.33. E, counted $62.15 remaining in the petty cash box. This plus $242.33 equals $304.48. That's $4.48 more than it should be. So credit your cash over in short for $4.48 and credit cash $237.85. Prepared a company check for $200 to increase the fund to $500. Debit petty cash for $200. Credit cash $200. On May 31st, the petty cashier reports that $288.20 remains in the fund. A company check is drawn to replenish the fund for the following expenditures made since May 15th. F, paid postage expenses of $147.36, debit postage expense. G, reimburse the office manager for business mileage, $23.50. Debit mileage expense. H, paid $34.75 to deliver merchandise to a customer. Terms FOB destination. debit delivery expense. Add them up. It equals 205.61. Add that to the 288.20 still in the fund, and that equals 493.81. It should equal $500. The difference is $6.19. Debit cash over and short for $6.19. Credit cash for $211.80. The company decides that the May 16 increase in the fund was too large. It reduces the fund by $100, leaving a total of $400. Simply debit cash for $100, credit petty cash $100. And these are your petty cash entries. The next problem is a bank reconciliation. The following information is available to reconcile branch company's book balance of cash with its bank statement balance as of July 31st, 2015. On July 31st, the company's cash account has a $27,497 debit balance, but its July bank statement shows a $27,233 cash balance. So the first thing you want to do is plug those numbers into the right spots. Check number 3031 for $14.82 and check number 3040 for $5.58 were outstanding on the June 30th bank reconciliation. Check number 3040 is listed with the July canceled checks, but check number 3031 is not. Also, checks number 3065 for $382 and check number 3069 for $2,281, both written in July, are not among the canceled checks on the July 31st statement. Outstanding checks will be deducted from the bank statement balance. These are checks that have not been cashed. So add up the ones you need, which are checks number 3031, 3065, and 3069 for a total of $41.45. In comparing the canceled checks on the bank statement with the entries in the accounting records, it is found that check number 3056 for July rent was correctly written and drawn for $12.70, but was erroneously entered in the accounting records as $12.50. This one is very confusing. The check was written correctly, and that amount of money was withdrawn from the checking account. The check was recorded incorrectly, so the $20 difference has to be deducted now. D. A credit memorandum enclosed with the July bank statement indicates that the bank collected $8,000 cash on a non-interest-bearing note for Branch. Deducted a $45 collection fee and credited the remainder to its account. Branch had not recorded this event before receiving the statement. The bank collected money and put it in the account, so it has to be added on the checkbook side. They do it all in one entry. They just add the $800 minus $45 for the fee. A debit memorandum for $805 lists a $795 NSF check plus a $10 NSF charge. The check had been received from a customer, Evan Shaw. Branch has not yet recorded this check as NSF. This is a check that bounced, so it has to be deducted from the checkbook along with the $10 charge. Enclosed with the July statement is a $25 debit memorandum for bank services. It has not yet been recorded because no previous notification had been received. This is a charge that the customer pays, so it has to be deducted from the checkbook. Branch's July 31st daily cash receipts of $11,514 were placed in the bank's night depository on this date, but did not appear on the July 31st bank statement. This is a deposit in transit added in to the bank balance. Part 2 asks you to do the journal entries necessary. Anything that affected the checkbook has to have a journal entry, so go down through the reconciliation. A asks you to do any required entry for the balance. This does not require an entry, it's already been entered in the checkbook. Outstanding checks have also been recorded in the checkbook already. This one is the error. And this was related to rent. For the note, you have to record the collection. This is money that the bank collected and put into the account, so debit cash, debit collection expense, and credit notes receivable. The NSF check also has to be recorded. This is a customer that didn't pay, so it has to go back into accounts receivable and come out of cash, the entire amount, the $805. The bank service charge also has to be recorded. Debit miscellaneous expense, credit cash for $25. No entry is required for the deposit in transit.